Breaking news coming from Kaduna, and this one is hot. Reports say Fulani militias have suffered heavy losses as local hunters strike them hard. This is not just a small matter, my people. This is something big, because it shows how the battle between armed bandit groups and local defenders is going in many parts of Nigeria. Hunters are not folding their hands anymore. They are now standing up, fighting back, and protecting their villages the way they know best. And trust me, when hunters decide to move, they don't move small, they move with courage. Before we continue, please, if you are watching this video right now, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this gist with your friends, because many people need to understand what is really going on. Now, let me give you the full picture. Over the past months, Kaduna has been one of the major hotspots in Nigeria when it comes to insecurity. Villages have been attacked, farms have been destroyed, and many people have been kidnapped by armed men hiding inside thick forests. These groups are often described as bandits, and a good number of them are Fulani militias that have grown from cattle rustlers into full-blown armed groups. They come with motorcycles, they come with rifles, they come with speed. They storm villages, carry people away, and demand ransom. And for a long time, villagers have been living in fear. But something has been changing. Communities are now saying enough is enough. Local hunters who know the forests more than anybody, who grew up in those lands, who can track footprints and understand animal trails, have decided to face these militias head on. And recently, hunters in Kaduna clashed directly with these armed groups, and from what people are saying, the militias suffered heavy losses. This is why today's gist is shaking. When villagers and hunters win a battle like this, it sends a strong message that communities are no longer helpless. But let us be very honest. As much as hunters are brave, this fight is not simple. Each time a militia group loses, there is always the risk of retaliation. Bandits can come back angry, and when they do, it is the ordinary villagers who often suffer the most. That is why every victory comes with celebration, but also with fear of what might follow next. And this is the real heart of the matter. How long can hunters hold the line without more support from security forces? Now let's paint the scene properly. Imagine a village at night. Hunters holding Dane guns and charms, some with rifles, moving quietly through the bushes. They know the forest paths, they know where the militias camp, and they know how to set ambush. These are not random people. These are men who dedicate themselves to protecting farms and families. And when they move, the militias who think they are the lords of the forest get a big shock. Reports show that in one recent encounter, hunters struck deep, surprising a bandit camp, and left many of the attackers running. That is why we are saying the militias suffered heavy losses. But we need to remember something. Behind every headline, there are real human beings. Families are caught in the middle. Villagers who just want to farm and feed their children are forced to run from bullets. Schools close down. Children can't go to class because the fear is too much. Mothers and fathers are displaced, moving to IDP camps with nothing but the clothes on their backs. So even though hunters are striking hard, the people in these communities are still carrying heavy burdens. And that is why, as we discuss this story, we must not forget the human side. And please, my viewers, don't forget to hit the like button right now and subscribe to this channel. That is how you can support us to keep giving you the full gist in real time. Now, many of you may be wondering, why hunters? Where is the military? Where are the police? The truth is, security forces are working, but they cannot be everywhere at the same time. The forests in Kaduna and surrounding states are massive. The roads are long and the terrain is very difficult. Sometimes soldiers respond after the damage is already done. This is why local hunters and vigilantes step in to fill the gap. They are the first line of defense, the ones who can react quickly. And when they succeed, it encourages other communities to rise up too. But let us not make a mistake. These hunters are not superhuman. They can fight, yes, but they are also at risk. We have seen reports of hunters losing their lives in battles, of villages mourning their defenders, of widows and children left behind. So when we clap for their bravery, let's also understand their sacrifice. The truth is, this fight is too heavy for communities alone. The government must strengthen security, provide intelligence, and work with hunters so that they are not just fighting blindly, but with real backup. And this is where the gist gets even deeper. Because this fight is not only about bullets and guns, it is also about land, cattle, and survival. For years, Nigeria has been struggling with clashes between farmers and herders. Grazing routes are shrinking. Climate change is making land less fertile. And what used to be small quarrels over farmland has now turned into deadly violence. Bandit groups have taken advantage of this tension to build power. And now, what started as disputes over cattle or farmland has become full-scale criminal operations with kidnappings and mass killings. That is the story behind this breaking news. Now, let me ask you, my audience, do you think hunters rising up is the solution? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to read your views and even feature some in my next video. And please, as you type, don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so already, and give this video a big thumbs up. Let's continue the gist. When militias suffer heavy losses like we are seeing in Kaduna, it is not just about one fight. It changes the balance of power in the whole area. Other bandits groups watch carefully. They either get scared and retreat, or they get angry and plan bigger attacks. And this is why security experts always warn that victories must be followed with caution. If you don't secure the villages quickly after a big clash, the attackers might return stronger. And when they come back, they don't just attack hunters. They burn villages, kidnap women and children, and destroy crops. That is why people always say, we need both bravery and strategy. Another point we must talk about is the economy of these villages. Every time there is violence, farms are abandoned and markets close down. Farmers lose harvest, traders lose customers, and children go hungry. And when the hunger sets in, it creates another problem. Some young men, desperate to survive, can be tempted to join the militias. This is why the cycle keeps going. It is not only about guns, it is also about poverty, hunger, and lack of opportunities. Now let's be real. The government cannot do this fight alone, and the hunters cannot do it alone either. What we need is partnership. We need communities, hunters, and security forces to share intelligence and work together. And we need government policies to address the root causes. Better farming systems, grazing solutions, and job creation. Without that, we will just keep hearing headlines like today's. But for now, let us give credit to the courage of Kaduna hunters. They stood up, they faced danger, and they showed that local communities are not powerless. That is the story we are telling today, and it is a story of both bravery and warning. Because while one side may celebrate the victory today, the bigger war is still ongoing. And before I pause here, let me remind you again. If you are watching, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it widely. Your support is what keeps us bringing these long, deep gists straight to you. So let's take this gist deeper. The news that Fulani militias have suffered heavy losses is not happening in isolation. It is part of a bigger struggle across Nigeria's northwest and middle belt. Kaduna is one of the main flashpoints, but you can trace the same story in Zamfara, Katsina, Niger, Plateau, and even parts of Benue. Communities everywhere are facing the same question. Do we wait for help, or do we rise up ourselves? Kaduna hunters have given us an answer. They chose to rise up. But what lessons can the rest of the country learn from this? Number one lesson is that local knowledge is power. The hunters know their environment better than anyone. They know which river path the bandits cross, which rock caves they hide in, and how to track movements at night. This is not something that can be written in a textbook. It is years of experience, and that is why when these hunters strike, they strike hard. It is like fighting on your home ground with every advantage. But here's the second lesson. Courage without support has limits. Yes, they can fight, but if you don't back them up with logistics, with intelligence, with medical support, their victories can quickly turn into tragedies. Imagine hunters engaging armed groups with only odd rifles and charms, while the bandits are carrying AK-47s and sometimes even rocket launchers. It is not a balanced fight. That is why government must take this seriously. Now, let me pause and say, if you're watching this video and you're enjoying how we're breaking this gist down, please like this video right now, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with at least one friend. When you support this channel, you help us bring more truth and more depth into these conversations. Let's move forward. Another angle of this gist is the humanitarian side. Each time there's a clash, villagers are displaced. Think about it.